Hey everybody, welcome back to Creative 3. We're having a bit of a discussion here about ads. Dave, I'm going to ask you a quick question, right? So we've been around for the last 30 years making ads in creative, and we've seen a ton of really good ones and really bad ones. So pretty much my question of the day is, has ads got worse or have they got better in 30 years?
I think they're less memorable now. I think years ago, I suppose it was mainly only TV, but I just remember more ads from years ago than I do now. I just find them less memorable.
I think it might be because of like Sky TV. They have this whole thing where they say that the gold standard is TV. Mm-hmm. And TV ads are the ones that you remember. Yeah. And because when you're on social media, you see much.
Yeah, it's a bit more saturated now. So,
Absolutely.
Years ago, your only type of advertising was TV, and now you've got obviously the internet, social media, and you've still got TV.
Well, the funny thing was that you being probably the youngest here, you actually brought up some ads over the last 6 months, like J.R. Hartley, but there was something emotional that actually impacted that. Obviously, BJ's still in his 20s. That he must have obviously been researching some ads that those type of things that really caught you.
Yeah.
Which would align with Mr. McClure's.
Well, I think that's the thing though with TV ads back in the day, because it was the only way of advertising. There was a higher budget, so then maybe because everything had to stand out. You always remember every year the Coca-Cola ad. The Guinness adverts were getting better and better.
The days coming.
The Sony ads, the balls going down the street.
Yeah.
Things that you kind of remember in your head because of probably how high the budget was.
It was like the Nike ads, things like that, where now it's more fast media. It's like quicker turnover. It's like Primark, fast fashion. And I think ads are going the same way, where there's maybe not the big budget and there's less emphasis on big set pieces, where now it's just maybe reacting to a viral moment or something like that, and it's just
that's a good point, because we can now create TV ads, and back in the day, whenever we were looking at a TV ad, you're talking 10k minimum spend on your creative budget, and nowadays we can spend 3k to get you on TV. And we can do that across the board, which is phenomenal because you can be really granular as well. So back even 10 years ago, whenever you were trying to advertise, you would have been spending all your budget hoping the right person's seen it on the ad break at the right time. Whereas now we can follow people around based on their demographic, how much their income is, the car they drive, the food they eat. And we can find all those little granular pieces and send them a specific ad to their front door, where their next door neighbor could be watching something totally different.
Yeah, that's the thing. We're not all seeing the same ads now. The algorithms got us in different...
I was thinking about the one we were always taking the Mickey out of, the Gladstone Brooks one, and actually thinking about how cheap and how it looks, but probably back then it was probably still 10, 15 grand.
Yeah, well that's it. The fact, even the fact that actually I would never associate Dave McClure with talking about Primark, but I say here or there. But the fact that you actually remember the advert is something in itself. But even going back to the holidays are coming, didn't that just change the whole trajectory about how we viewed Christmas? Didn't it?
Yeah.
Wasn't a social impact of those ads from
you
Coke?
Just associate it with Coke.
Yeah.
There's the lorry coming, and hopefully that was coming through your town and stuff.
Yeah,
that's what I remember.
I would never get down my lane.
Christmas.
Yeah, so one of my kind of big takes right now in 2025 is that ads are everywhere, and everybody's pushing ads. As soon as you scroll, it's every maybe fifth scroll of a post on social media, you'll see a sponsored post, and it's going to be an ad. And because we're so conditioned to seeing so many types of creative, and they're all done in that kind of same route, which is 3-second hook, 4-second piece of value, a bit of demonstration about your product, or a hero piece about what your content or your service is going to be, and then a call to action. And they're usually done inside maybe about 20 or 30 seconds. And if you rewind back to the memorable, really good TV ads, they were done on 30 seconds, 20 seconds, 10 seconds, and they would have put a lot of thought and a lot of effort into making them super memorable, where they're probably not as memorable anymore.
Well, this is the thing. When I was looking at a platform like Twitter, I didn't realize there was advertising on it, yet it's saturated in ads. I just scroll through and it's just content. So from sponsored posts, whether it's, a band and they've put their latest single out, I just didn't realize how many ads I was actually
get your shirt,
but they were really not memorable.
Yeah, well,
That's the thing.
we're part of a group of agencies, and every one of them, their number one platform they want to spend money on is Meta. So every agency in the entire world, I would say, their first protocol is spend money on Meta.
A funny thing I was watching the other day about monetization on platforms, and I think I was speaking to you, Dave, about it, was your guy Daniel Mack, that goes up to the cars. What do you do for a living?
Yeah,
he was actually doing his like top 5 what he's made money on platforms, and his bottom one was Meta. Like, so he made the least on Meta, and his top one was actually Snapchat.
Snapchat, wow.
Snapchat, and the second one below that was YouTube Shorts. So it was, and I thought and then when I heard Snapchat, we actually looked, and he only had like 250,000 followers on Snapchat, but compared to his Instagram, which we'll call Meta, was like 2.5 million.
It's crazy.
It is crazy. But again, he's probably not running an ad. He's probably just what he's made monetize on. But I just thought, like, it's crazy. And then I was trying to show Dave, because he was just like, do they have ads on Snapchat? Same thing you were saying about Twitter.
Yeah.
And then I was just like clicking on his thing, and then like would not even like as obviously Snapchat works, it like you just click the go next. Not even like 2 in, ad, another 2, ad, another 2, ad. And I was just thinking, by the time you get through his story,
you're tired.
You're probably thinking you've hit about probably 20 ads.
Yeah. So YouTube ads, what do you think about them?
Well, I actually have a soft spot for YouTube ads because they're still 16:9. They're that like kind of landscape format, and you can. And I hate the words you can force people, but you can force people to watch those 10 seconds or 5 seconds.
20 seconds, whatever it is.
And because you can do that, you can hold people's attention because they want to get to the video they want to watch.
Yeah.
So they have to watch your video first. And you're choosing the demographic. You're choosing the right type of people with the right type of message.
Yeah.
So for me, YouTube ads actually really work. And people, especially here in Ireland, don't leverage them as much.
I was going to say, on the back of that, I'm on YouTube every single day, and it's only the odd ad I get served in regards to a localized accent or even down south or whatever. And
that's funny because when I was
massive
away,
opportunity.
Yeah, when I was away in Spain, I kept getting hit with the same like accent company, so like a crash like over in Spain, and it was every single time. Even when the second ad came up, it was the exact same ad again, and it was because they were based in Alicante or wherever it was. And I was like, it's funny that was the only ad I seen, and bar maybe like the odd translation one.
Yeah.
And I thought, that's crazy. Like,
and they're probably pushing you based on like your English speaking, that you're traveling from another country into that country, and they know who you are and where you are and what you're doing, so they can send you a very tailored ad, especially for travel as well.
I love YouTube ads.
Well, that's what I tend to get, travel ads. And
it's because you're always traveling, Dave.
Yeah,
you never
want to.
Looking for all of Spencer's.
Yes.
Okay, so question.
True.
If you were to design the best performing ad right now, so we'll pick any service or brand, what makes the best type of ad?
I think it should, well, for me, you need to make it stand out. A lot of what I see, as I was saying, like on Twitter and stuff, I'm not even realizing that I'm getting served ads, and and I'm just scrolling through. One that stands out at the minute for me is Monday.com. They've started using a llama. Now, we had used a llama previously with select services, so that's probably why it stood out for me. But they have this animated llama, and it's memorable. They've picked a character, they're going for a theme. So for me, you need to make something that stands out, whether it's using a mascot or a character, or whether it's music or something. You need something that's going to hook people in. Yeah,
you think of the Jet 2 ads that come out periodically. They've got that theme.
Yeah,
and it sort of gets into your psyche. That I know I've booked a number of holidays with Jet 2 over the last number of years, but no, more
Judith Chalmers,
more easy jet at the minute. But that was the first thing that comes to my mind is that song.
Yes,
and it's trending on TikTok too.
Yeah,
is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So every time you hear it, you instantly think of Jet 2.
Yeah,
Tell me this: is the Jet 2 ad the one that's like the POV?
Yes,
isn't it? And like
jumping in, grabbing someone's hand.
To be fair, that was the one that always used to stand out to me because it was just like that's what it's like to be like
hit a lot
on
of
holiday.
So it's. And I think they nailed that. Actually, it's very nostalgic one, and every time you see it, it makes you want to book a holiday.
For the year and the time it came out, I thought it was great. Like seeing like a point of view kind of
couples, family,
or I think using humor. Humor's a great one, especially a localized ad too. If you're using local humor. I think people will watch it. There's ads, and you just watch over and over just because you find them funny.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Well, there's a new type of ad that I've noticed on social media more and more, and a lot of agencies are using this. So they'll make these pseudo ads that are ads, but they look like they're just a talking piece. Like even like what we're doing now, this could be an ad if you made it in the right way. And what they do is they maybe do a comparison on products. So you'll maybe see a person walking into a spa and they'll walk through all the different protein ranges and they'll pick out each of the proteins, turn it round to the back and say, oh, this has only got 20 grams of protein. This one's got 23. This is 22, but it's high in sugar. And they'll give you this information as if it's a talking piece. But really what they're wanting to do then is highlight their product in that piece as well. So that type of comparison video is on trend at the minute. It's really, really working. Loads of marketing agencies are using it, and it's something that if you're not thinking about comparing your product, it's something that I think that any business out there should be doing these conversational pieces, these fake ads that are real ads.
No doubt, because I even put anything you're putting into your body now, because there's so much products, whether it's nutritional or food or whatever, people are a lot more switched on. Even I was in a shopping centre the other day, and this, I would say, older couple, me being a mature gentleman myself, and they were reading the back of the it was one of your drinks actually, one of your protein drinks.
Y food.
Yeah, but people are really, really switched on to that. Whereas now, you're right, because they're thinking, what am I actually taking?
I actually find that funny because going back to TV ads, you wouldn't have been allowed to do that years ago. You wouldn't be able to compare your product to someone else, nor would you want to, because you're putting someone else's product in your ad.
Well, even Sky today, because obviously we do a lot of Sky ads and stuff, you have to substantiate everything.
Yeah. Well, that's what makes TV ads still the gold standard, because you can get away with most things on social media because you don't have to verify anything. There's not any fact checking other than Meta basically saying, please tell me that it's not a drug. Or it's not illegal. Because Meta, there's so many grey areas that you can get away with producing loads and loads of content and making really erroneous claims. Whereas on TV, if I say this pill is going to make you lose a stone, you have to show the evidence and the studies.
Prove it.
And it be proven. So still, for me, the gold standard, if you want to showcase your business and you want to stand out, it's TV.
And it looks better.
It does.
Because it's 16 by 9.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Well, I just think it's the most professional too. I think it comes with a standard. People assume if you're on TV, it costs a lot more than it actually does.
Yeah.
So it elevates your brand to a certain level. And I think if you're looking to lift your brand, that's the way to go.
I always think, I always look at, I can't remember like an actual example off the top of my head, but you look at brands that have a beautiful ad on TV, and then you go and look at their social media, and it's completely filled with UGC, more of the lower budget style type ads. Because they know what's working. They know this is the standard of our company on TV, but we just want to try and relate to the demographic that's on that platform too, which is what I like.
Well, that's a good question. So UGC video. So for us, we've spent 30 years making our craft that we can make beautiful looking video and beautiful looking designs, but the appetite for those types of things is repellent. Actually, that if you show a really glossy, high, well put together ad on social media, people switch off. They want to see this.
They feel being sold to.
Yeah. So they want to see those UGC things. So what do you think about UGC?
I like it. It's authentic. It's people using the product or showing the product off, how they would use it. It's not always how a brand might intend, but it's reality. So I think it's a good way to go.
See, I do agree with you, but I also disagree, because it's, every time someone goes and does a food review somewhere or they pick a product, it's the best. It's the best. Because either you don't know if it's genuine or they've been paid to do it. Probably more likely they've been paid to do it. But I just would rather if someone give me the actual genuine, did you like it? Was it absolutely amazing? 3 out of 10?
Well, I know that guy, like Food Review Club, has been called out on social media for doing the same thing. He's been paid, but there's nothing wrong with that, being paid to go to a business and give a review. But I do think you need to be upfront with
you've got a bias towards
promotion.
You've got a that's you've got a bias. I probably say with Dave in regards to its reality. I've even got an affinity now with people I would have probably deemed a lunatic 6 months ago, purely because they've stood the test of time. Guys that I'm looking at seriously, and I'm thinking, oh, fair play to you. You've come on there. You're coming across really like, I don't know, so broad Belfast, giving tripe information, and then now because they've actually stood the test of time, they've actually, a lot of people have bought into their brand, albeit because we're coming from a very professional, get you on TV, and whereas this sort of seemed to be the extreme, whereas I'm going, fair play to you, kid.
What's your opinion on UGC, Chris?
Well, I've seen a lot of friends, so I have an Instagram channel, and I get people send me out messages. Would you use my sauce? Would you cook with my spike for the barbecue? Would you do this? Would you do that? And it puts you under pressure that you feel that you have to say wonderful things about it. So I tend to not do them, and I don't do them. So I'll maybe cook with it and taste it, and that's about it. But I struggle sometimes when I see people who say maybe they get sent a product and it's the best product that they've ever had, and it's the best tan that they've ever wore, and it's maybe not really the case, that there is better products out there, but it's because you have a bias to make it look good, because ultimately you want to get more subscriptions and more stuff sent to you and more people
and
working
you're probably
with
an
you.
affiliate too of it, so
Yeah, that's it. So the UGC is authentic whenever it's not promoted by another brand where they're paying them the money. If you actually watch it, you just see it's been made by somebody who's maybe just loved the product and put it out there, and then the company's picked it up. That's the gold standard for me.
But your boy, what do you call him that does the coffee on YouTube? James Hoffman, is it? He is very specific about what brands that he will actually review.
Yeah,
and I kind of like that about him, because he's just like, now, fair enough, there has been some things he's came out and said, no, I'm not going to review it because I'm paid to review it. But I think that he's completely honest when he's
I think that's the key thing.
Yeah.
I think you buy into the authenticity of honesty.
Yeah.
Which is, obviously, it's, I suppose that's subjective in many ways. But when the longevity of someone, when they're coming out like Hoffman and saying those sort of type of things, it does give the brand a bit more credibility, because hey, I'm not being paid for this. I'm going to give an honest appraisal, or I'm going to give I love comparison, sort of like something you had said earlier. I used to watch this thing with this guy's going to a supermarket, and they would have maybe 4 or 5 white wines, and they would give all the regions, and they would give the price range from £6 to 26 quid, and he would always say to himself, he said, look, I would drink a lot of wine, this £8 matches this 18 quid. And I love that.
What's influenced me to buy wines that good, actually, whenever I feel like, I'm getting a bit of an insider scoop on not spending the most or the least, and here's the sweet spot where you're getting most bang for your buck, and you kind of take them on their word because they seem like they're genuinely trying to help.
I think it's because they're comparing both wines. Here's an expensive wine, and here's a cheaper one. I think it's always good, going back to what you're saying, like comparison, it makes you actually buy into either one, because
again, it gives you the opportunity for the story as well, the grape, the province, or the country, and all that. Just gives you a bit of especially if you're into something, because I know you're into coffee, and you can hold that conversation with people who are coffee roasters and stuff like that. And it's lovely for me to be on the outside listening to story-led sort of type conversation.
Well, here's probably off the back of that, the other type of ad that's running out at the moment is this founder-led ad, where it's, if I've invented a product, I come on as the founder and I talk about it and share my journey, my story, and people buy into those founder-led pieces because they're so powerful, because they're authentic. They're almost leaning into the UGC, where it's the real person behind the brand rather than a beautiful looking model that you've hired in for the day. It's the person who had the passion to build a business or build a product.
Well, we've shoehorned, I don't know, many business owners over the years who have founded businesses 10, 15, 25 years ago, and they were reluctant to come on camera. But nobody sells your product better than the founder or the originator.
Absolutely.
And we have found people's brand escalate purely because the person, albeit reluctantly, has come on camera and said, this is how I started. And it's usually down to a borrowed computer on a kitchen table, blah, blah, blah. And then you buy into this history. Maybe it's an age thing with me, I don't know. But it's something that where I do buy into that. I want to see where it came from.
I love the personal approach, because it's always good that someone's backing their own brand and they're not, yes, I love obviously creating content outside of that, but it's also the fact that they're going in front of the camera and they're like because obviously they've started that business because they have that passion for their business, and you just want, and obviously they can sell it better than any other person you've brought in to pay or to act that out. They're coming in and they're like, oh, he really sounds authentic. Going back to what you say, and passion.
The only thing is, not everybody's good at being on camera. You have to kind of work that out of them. Now, some of the people that are really good at it are the likes of the Steve Jobs of this world, the Elon Musks, who they're the founders, the people behind, well, maybe not in some cases with Steve Jobs, but the people who are behind the actual product design or the product or the service themselves. Yeah. And they are passionate, but they're really good on stage, or they're really good at speaking as well. So there's a sweet spot between coming from being really unpolished, spend a bit of time to do stuff in front of the camera, and then use that to propel your business. So there's a bit of work in between there.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Which is why we're here.
Okay, so here's another type of ad that I've noticed, which is exactly what we're doing now. We're in a podcast, but basically what we'll do is we'll bring in an expert. So say Henry's the expert, we'll bring him in and he talks about a service or a product. And then I, as the disruptive newbie on the block, come in and I say, no, but we have invented this project and I absolutely disagree with what you're saying.
Yeah.
And people love that. They love the drama of bringing in an expert and this new disruptor on the block who's just came out in the last couple of years, who's reinvented the way you drink water. So I've even seen this hydrogen waters out at the moment. And everybody thinks that there's only two things you can do with water: flavor it and drink it. And nowadays they're adding hydrogen to it, they're ionizing it, they're making it acidic or alkaline. They're doing all sorts of stuff to a very normal product that is making it disruptive. And people love that, and people buy into it, and people want to find a new way to do things as well. So if the likes of maybe Nomadic Watches, if he's come out with a new disruptive brand that's based in Ireland, it's got its own story, it's got its own workshop based here in Belfast, and having that kind of founder-led disruptive thinking against the grain of like the Tudors and the Rolexes and
made elsewhere.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's so much mileage in doing those types of pieces where you basically just get a podcast set up, bring in an expert, and be disruptive.
Yeah.
But that's sort of infotainment as well. Everyone, like, I love those programs on like the Discovery Channel, how things are made.
Yeah.
And you'll hear the story of how something's made and why it's made a certain way. And it's more entertainment than you don't feel you're being served an ad.
Yeah.
And you're just drawn into a story rather than being sold something. So yeah,
So the thing for me is everybody buys off emotion, not off need or want. It's based on what they're feeling whenever they watch that piece of content. So I've swiped through Instagram or Facebook or whatever platform, and I've came on to a little ad that I'm no means of wanting to buy at any stage, and I've flicked through it and I've watched the first couple of seconds and it's caught me. And whenever you're caught emotionally, that's what actually sells people. So take them on a journey, speak to their emotions, and sometimes you buy with your heart, not with your brain, sort of thing. So you end up spending a lot of money on random stuff because you've been caught in the emotion of it. So for us as marketers, the thing that we look at the most is how do we grab people's emotions here, because some products are the same. Like if we look at creatine, we have a client that we sell creatine for, and creatine is the same everywhere. There's no difference in it. You don't get a gold star creatine to a silver version. They're all the same, and it's just the tub that it sits in. So how do you sell it? You sell it on the emotion. You sell it on the brand story, the person behind it, their values,
lifestyle,
lifestyle imagery and stuff like that. Because we have obviously in that brand that you're actually talking about, we have a mixture of statics, product, and lifestyle, and training per se. And I love it all. For me, when you're thinking about that particular brand, as much as the client potentially doesn't like the physical sort of trainer doing their stuff, for me, I see that product as energizing action as opposed to a static post. So that floats my boat, you know, in regards to that particular brand you're talking about, because I actually buy stuff from them. But in real term, for me, when you're talking about that particular product, an action thing floats my boat because I want to see the product in action.
Well, it'll do.
Yeah. Well, it's like Apple when they were selling the iPod. It was heavily don't sell the features, sell the benefits. So it was very easy for them to say, 2 gig of storage. It doesn't mean anything.
Is that where the one
5,000 songs in your pocket
Yeah.
meant something to people. So it's harnessing the right language and features over, benefits over features.
I heard the Shark Tank guy, I can't remember his name, but he says a good salesman will sell features, a great salesman will sell outcomes.
Yeah.
It's actually going back to like the brand that we were talking about. I actually seen a lot of like a supplement companies. You know, they have the sleep products, and they're actually advertising as like, don't, you know, obviously you would say, oh, better sleep or something like that. But this other company was actually selling like, oh, say there's like 30 capsules in that. They were sitting saying, here's, you know, a number like say 2,000 hours better sleep.
Yeah.
You know, that you'll not get back, or you will get back.
Or the benefits of better sleep.
Yeah, exactly.
You're more refreshed. You're more productive.
Yeah.
Rather than just
Yeah.
going to sleep.
And then you can picture yourself and you can see yourself. What would I look like if I slept better? What would I be like with my family if I came in
Your boss's
refreshed?
new best friend.
Not wanting to strangle the kids.
Yeah, that's it. So you sell on the emotion, and what's in it for me is the big thing. So I remember actually a friend of ours used to have this above his computer, which is what's in it for me. Basically, to let him know that whenever you're speaking to somebody, let them know what's in it for them. And stop thinking about you every time, and stop thinking about trying to convey, here's how many tablets are going to be in this pill box, how much milligrams of this ingredient is going to be in, because people really don't care. They want to know what's it going to do for me, what's it going to change in my life.
Well, I don't understand. When I look at all the ingredients, I don't know what a milligram is. I don't know what half the ingredients are, but I would rather know what they're going to do for me.
Yeah, that's it. What if you were to design the perfect ad right now that was to sell any product, what would you put into it in the hook then? So something that is memorable, but what stands out and what makes a great ad?
Well, a good hook. Yeah. So starting off with,
this is why you're not.
Yes. You know, pick the pain point. You know, everyone can associate a pain point because they'll go, yes, you know, I am sluggish in the morning, or I can't focus on things. So it's like, are you having, you know, if we're selling a supplement, you know, do you struggle with?
Yeah, struggling to focus.
Yes, and people will associate and go, yes, so you've got their attention. And then you're going into, you know, whether you're selling the lifestyle benefit or the health benefit or whatever it is. And then you want a strong call to action at the end, because there's no point having the ad and then just finishing, going out in a whimper. And not telling someone what to do.
Well, you look at the psychology of a human being, per se. We all struggle with something, whether it's, in my case, sleep. I sleep but don't rest. Yours could be anxiety. Yours could be whatever.
Oversleep.
That's in all this.
Thanks, Henry.
But do you know what I mean? And if you had those 5 things that we all struggle with, you could near enough, maybe I'm wrong here, you could near enough stick a product into that and put a hook. Whether it's some of the products that we are actually working with at the minute, even when we think about the travel brand that we are, you know, that we're actually working with at the minute, and you go, need a break. We could all say, stressful day. Most of us want to run.
Get a Kit Kat.
Yeah. Most of us want to run. Need a snack.
Yeah.
You know,
but the likes of Roy's Travel Club will pinpoint. So a pinpoint would be, are you a solo traveler? You know, where Jet2 they're selling normally family holidays, couples holidays. Yeah. Where Rory's pointing out solo travel. Travel in a group, widen your, you know, circle.
But he's talking about community. He's talking about togetherness. He's talking about company. 100%. He's talking about friendship.
Yes, it's not just about a holiday. It's about lifelong friendships and all the experiences you're going to get from that. And that, you know, it's bringing people on board that may be feeling excluded from holidays, or I can't do that because I'm going to go on my own. He's going, well, join like-minded people. So it's like, find your tribe.
And great way to do as testimonies. One of the things that was like the Love Actually movie that Jack and I went up to welcome a couple of hundred people coming off a plane from Bulgaria. They were on a ski trip. And the one thing really marked me, and was very like the Love Actually, was this: I made friends for life. People hugging, people crying, and can't wait to see you again. Let's hook up. And it was really impacting, and I was just there as the accompany Big Jack, And
Just all back to emotion.
boom, boom, shaka.
Yeah, that's it. So,
What's your perfect ad, Chris? Before we
my perfect ad.
like, what catches your attention?
Something
Every
that
time.
instantly makes you laugh. So that I scroll sometimes, and whenever I see someone fall or hurt themselves or do something that's like it makes you almost like burst out laughing, that's the perfect hook. So if you can get somebody to laugh or smile on the first 3 seconds, and I'm sure there's a retention rate that if there's like this roller coaster of you can hit them with this spike of something really fun, and then it'll fall down, and then you hit them, and you keep your ad running with these little spikes the whole way through, so you keep rewarding people to watch the next clip. So it could be a fancy transition, which are really cool to watch, and it tickles my boat to watch those. And then funny things that happen. So
I used to love
when
them.
you combine fun with good transitions and a nice looking product, so it has to be a good product still. There's no point you selling a horrible thing and doing it in a good way. Like, yes, you're selling, but it's not a great business for me. I love working with good brands, people who have good products and services.
Yeah.
And we're blessed to have been doing that over the last 30 years, that we work with companies that have a great story. They're good people, they've good services, they've good products, and we get to be part of that, which is beautiful.
It's beautiful. So I'm laughing, Joni, because in that video I showed you the other day, that there was a herd of goats with one goat had a bag on its head, and it was freaked the other 20 goats out, and I was kept following and running around, and the goats kept looking and then run away. Just daft sort of things, as you say, makes you laugh.
Yeah, stuff like that. And what you were saying with the llama with Monday, like they've coined that really, really well, and
Absolutely.
it makes you laugh. It's fun. And then you go, what is it they're selling?
Well,
And
that's
you'll-
it.
What is it with llamas?
Half the time you don't. It was, Cadbury, the famous one with the gorilla and the Phil Collins drumming.
Mm-hmm.
That had absolutely nothing to do with chocolate. And I'm
No.
sure whoever pitched that in the meeting,
Pitched it to 6 other companies.
100%, because there's no way the first time Cadbury heard that they went, that'd be a great idea. But someone obviously believed in it. If I came and pitched that to Henry, he'd probably look at me and go, "You want a gorilla coming? Catch yourself on."
Henry,
But it's one of the most memorable ads of all time, and the only thing that actually had anything to do with
Bought a gorilla suit off that,
it
Dave.
was the
Know what I mean?
the purple color. That was it.
Mm.
But it was great. But again, it's just creating, and I think sometimes don't try and make a viral ad. You'll not do it. Viral ads are viral for a reason. It's just it catches someone's attention, and it'll go viral on its own. I think if you try and create it on your own, people can see through it. You're just trying too hard.
Okay, well, look, we'll wrap up there. That was a good unpacking of ads, and thank you guys for coming in and having a little chat. And if you're interested in watching more of this, if you're interested in finding out how to increase your ROAS, your ad spend to bring it down, or how to make better hooks for your videos, we are at the end of a DM. Just send us a message, and we'd love to chat.